Welcome to Daily Stoic Practice, your compass to navigate the complexities of modern life with ancient wisdom. Have you ever felt like someone's negativity is dragging you down? Like you're swimming against an invisible current, a friend, a family member, or even a partner, constantly draining your energy. And somehow, they make you feel like it's all your fault. Let me ask you this. How often do you replay their words in your head, questioning yourself, wondering if you're the problem? Toxic people have a knack for wrapping their chaos in subtle manipulation, making you doubt your worth, your decisions, even your sanity. But here's the truth. You're not alone. Toxic people are everywhere, and their tactics are disturbingly effective. They infiltrate your thoughts, sap your emotional energy, and turn every day into an uphill battle. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and most importantly, it's unnecessary. Here's what they don't want you to know. You can break free. You can stop them from invading your peace of mind. And today, I'm going to show you how. This isn't about fighting fire with fire. Instead, we're taking a smarter approach, one inspired by the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. This philosophy has guided warriors, emperors, and thinkers for thousands of years. Together, we'll explore 5 smart strategies to not just deal with toxic people, but to rise above them with strength, clarity, and unshakable peace. If you've ever felt trapped in someone else's storm, this is your moment to reclaim your calm. Let's dive in and take back control of your emotional world. 1. Master your emotions. Imagine standing in front of a wall of fire. The flames can't touch you unless you decide to step into them. Toxic behavior works the same way, can only affect you if you choose to react. Toxic people don't just want to hurt you, they want to see you react. Your anger, frustration, or sadness fuels their power. But what happens if you don't give them what they want? They lose that power. Master non-reaction. Be the driver of your own emotions. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "We are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it." When someone provokes you, think about this. They can say or do whatever they want, but the decision to let their words affect you is entirely yours. For example, when someone makes a cutting remark, instead of responding with anger, pause. Take a deep breath and reply neutrally, "I hear you." This simple phrase doesn't just diffuse the tension, it also confuses them. They expect you to lash out, but instead, you choose calm. The gray rock method. Boredom as a powerful defense. Toxic people thrive on drama and emotional reactions. The more you engage, the more you feed their need for chaos. But what if you become as dull and uninteresting as a gray rock? Here's how it works. When someone tries to provoke you, respond with neutral statements like, "Oh, really?" or "That's interesting." These replies don't add fuel to the fire. Over time, they'll realize their efforts to stir your emotions are futile. This isn't about being passive, it's about protecting your emotional energy and refusing to play their game. By staying neutral, you take back control. Shift your perspective. This is their issue, not mine. Toxic people often make you feel like everything is your fault. But let's look at this through the lens of Stoicism. Their behavior isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inner struggles. Imagine a coworker who constantly criticizes you in meetings. Does that mean you're incompetent? Or is it a way for them to mask their own insecurities? Often, toxic people belittle others to feel bigger themselves. The next time someone criticizes you, ask yourself, what does this really say about them? This doesn't mean you should dismiss constructive feedback, but you must learn to separate helpful criticism from manipulative behavior. Visualize your emotions as a clear blue sky. Think of your emotions as a clear blue sky and the toxic person's behavior as a storm. The storm may rage with wind and thunder, but it never changes the sky. You are the sky. Their behavior is the storm, and storms always pass as long as you don't let them take over your space. A story of mastery. A friend once shared how her boss used to unfairly yell at her every morning. At first, she felt insulted and would argue back. But after practicing the gray rock method and shifting her perspective, she realized her boss's anger wasn't about her, it was pressure from upper management. She started responding calmly. "I understand. I'll work on that." No arguments, no emotional reactions. And over time, her boss stopped yelling because they didn't get the reaction they wanted. Your emotional mastery is your shield. Mastering your emotions is a journey, not a destination. Every time you choose not to react, you're building a stronger shield for your mind. This doesn't just protect you from negativity, it also sends a powerful message. I control my life, not you. You may not be able to control someone else's behavior, but you always control how you respond. And that right there is the greatest power you can have. 2. Understand the root of toxic behavior. Imagine walking through a dense, foggy forest. You know something dangerous is lurking nearby, but you can't see it clearly. This is exactly how toxic behavior operates. It's subtle, elusive, and hard to identify at first. So how do you recognize it? The ancient Greeks had a saying, "Know yourself, know your enemy, and you'll win 100 battles." To deal with toxic people, you first need to understand them. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "People don't harm us, they harm themselves by acting according to their nature." But we can protect ourselves by not letting them take control of our minds. This is the key, distinguishing between their actions and your reactions to them. Toxic behavior rarely reveals itself right away. It's often cloaked in seemingly harmless remarks that carry a deeper, destructive undertone. For example, a colleague might say, "I don't think you handled that task well, but maybe I just set my expectations too high." It sounds like constructive feedback, but in reality, it's designed to make you doubt your abilities. Think of every toxic comment or action as a gust of wind. You can't control the wind, but you can build a wall to shield yourself from it. One of the best ways to do this is by journaling. Write down what happened, how you felt, and any patterns you notice. Over time, you'll start to see the truth behind their behavior. And more importantly, you'll stop getting caught up in the psychological games they're playing. But recognizing toxic behavior is only the first step. When you start to notice it, your initial reaction might be to ask yourself, "Did I do something wrong?" This is natural because toxic people often try to make you feel guilty. But here's the truth, it's not about you. Toxic people are often carrying their own insecurities or deep frustrations. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." Their behavior reflects their inner battles, not your worth. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone lash out at you after having a bad day? Maybe their boss criticized them, or they faced a personal failure. Instead of addressing their problems, they redirect their frustration toward you. This isn't because you did anything wrong, it's because you're an easy target. Now, imagine having a friend who leaves you feeling drained after every conversation. They focus on your failures, barely acknowledging your successes. It's like looking into a distorted mirror. You see a flawed version of yourself. But the problem lies in how they reflect the world back to you. When faced with someone like this, remember Marcus Aurelius's advice. If someone insults you, ask yourself, does this truly harm me? If not, ignore it. The next time someone tries to bring you down, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is their issue, not mine. Picture yourself in a noisy room filled with people shouting. You have two choices. Join the chaos or put on headphones and listen to your favorite music. Mastering your emotions is like putting on those headphones. You can't silence everyone, but you can decide what plays in your mind. Recognizing toxic behavior isn't about judging others. It's about protecting yourself. Once you understand that their actions don't define your value, you'll start to feel free. And that freedom is the first step toward building a life that's no longer controlled by negative energy. 3. Building inner strength. What is inner strength? It's not about controlling the world around you. It's about standing firm in the middle of life's storms. Marcus Aurelius once said, "True strength lies not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it and overcoming it." To do this, you have to build your inner strength like a fortress, one step, one brick at a time. Build a strong support system. Imagine you're a tall tree. Your roots are the positive relationships in your life. If your roots are weak or cut off, you won't stand strong when the winds pick up. Toxic people often try to make you feel isolated, like you're all alone. But that's just an illusion. Take some time to reflect. Who listens to you without judgment? Who makes you feel respected and supported? These are your people, your tribe. Keep them close. At the same time, reduce or eliminate interactions with those who drain your energy. You don't need to maintain every relationship, especially the ones that leave you feeling small. Here's an example. A friend once told me about her close-knit group of friends who helped her through the toughest times. They didn't just say, "Cheer up, everything will be fine." They sat with her, listened, and asked, "What can we do to help you right now?" That's the kind of support system you need. Relationships that don't just exist, but actively lift you up. Practice radical self-care. Inner strength doesn't just come from external support, it's also cultivated from within. You can't expect to counter negativity if you're not replenishing your positive energy. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's essential. Ask yourself, are you giving yourself time to rest? Do you take moments to do things that bring you peace, like reading, journaling, or simply sitting in silence? Don't fall into the trap of thinking, "I'll take care of myself when I have time." Make it a priority. If you don't take care of yourself, who will? Here are a few ideas. Meditate for 10 minutes every morning to start your day with balance. Schedule a me day each week, a day where you don't have to do anything for anyone but yourself. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each night to keep your mind focused on the positive. Accept that you can't save everyone. This is the hardest truth to accept, but it's also the most liberating. Some people don't want to change, and you can't force them to. Ask yourself, how many times have you tried to help someone only for them to repeat the same toxic behaviors? Has that effort brought you happiness, or has it left you feeling drained? Remember what Epictetus said, no one can harm you unless you allow it. If you spend too much energy trying to save someone else, you're taking away energy you could use to strengthen yourself. When you feel pulled into the need to fix someone, remind yourself, this is not my responsibility. Focus on protecting your own energy instead of wasting it on battles you can't win. Use visual imagery to understand inner strength. Think of your inner strength as a torch. In the darkness, it lights your path even if no one else is around. But to keep the torch burning, you need fuel. Positive people in your life are the dry wood, and moments of self-care are the wind that keeps the flame alive. And toxic people, they're the rain, trying to extinguish your fire. Here's an inspiring story. A well-known entrepreneur once shared how, before achieving success, he had to cut ties with a close friend who constantly criticized his ideas and made him doubt himself. By eliminating that negative influence, he not only felt freer, but also found the clarity to pursue his dreams and achieve remarkable success. The core of inner strength. Inner strength isn't about enduring every hardship that comes your way. It's about choosing what deserves your energy. When you build a strong support system, care for yourself, and let go of responsibilities that don't belong to you, you'll realize that no storm can shake you. Remember, you are the only one who can decide your worth. And when you possess inner strength, no one, not even the most toxic person, can take away your freedom or your peace. 4. Setting protective boundaries. Imagine you're cultivating a peaceful garden, a place where you feel safe and relaxed. But every day, someone sneaks in, tramples the flowers, and leaves everything in chaos. You can't just sit there hoping they'll change. You need to build a fence to protect your space. Boundaries in relationships work the same way. They're your way of telling the world, this is my space, and I won't let anyone invade it. So why are boundaries so important? The philosopher Epictetus once said, never hand over the reins of your mind to someone else. The moment you do, you lose your freedom. Boundaries are the tools you use to keep that freedom. They're not walls meant to push people away, they're bridges that connect you to self-respect. But here's the harsh truth. Toxic people hate boundaries. Setting a boundary is like turning off the spotlight they love to stand under. They'll try to break it by convincing you, manipulating you, or making you feel guilty for saying no. You might hear something like, "You've changed. You're not as caring as you used to be." But remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation or an apology for protecting your peace. A simple statement like, "I'm not comfortable with this," or "I can't do that right now," is enough. Be firm. Don't justify, argue, or over-explain. The shorter and clearer your response, the stronger your message. "I won't be swayed." Imagine you're a tape recorder, and your response is one line on repeat. "I'm not comfortable with that." If they try to persuade or pressure you, just repeat it calmly. No emotions, no added explanations. Repeat it again if they persist. This not only helps you stand your ground, but also signals to them that you're not easily manipulated. Here's an example. Say you have a friend who constantly calls late at night to vent about their problems. Every time you remind them about the late hour, they say something like, "I just needed someone to listen. Don't you care about me?" Your response? "I understand, but I need to rest at this time." If they push again, repeat it. Eventually, they'll realize your boundary isn't negotiable. Recognizing when relationships can't be saved. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, a relationship remains toxic. In those cases, the only option left is to limit contact. This doesn't mean you're abandoning or resenting them. It means you're prioritizing your own peace. Think of your energy like the battery on a smartphone. You only have so much to give, and you need to allocate it wisely. Toxic people are like apps that constantly drain your battery without adding any value. If you don't close those apps, your energy will eventually run out. Visualize it this way. You're a lighthouse. Your light remains steady, but not every ship can approach safely. Toxic people are like wayward boats. Your job isn't to guide them to shore. It's to keep shining your light, strong and unwavering. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away, it's about protecting yourself. When you establish clear limits, you're not only safeguarding your peace, but also sending a powerful message. I know my worth, and I won't let anyone diminish it. Remember, control doesn't belong to others, it belongs to you. And when you create firm boundaries, you're building a safe space to live, love, and grow. 5. Free your mind and move forward. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack on your shoulders. Inside that backpack are negative emotions, anger, resentment, disappointment. How long have you been carrying it? A year? 10 years? And more importantly, do you even need it anymore? That backpack isn't making you stronger. It's weighing you down, slowing your progress. What you need isn't to keep bearing it, but to set it down. Not because someone else deserves it, but because you do. Here are a few steps you can take to lighten your emotional load and confidently move forward. Forgiveness. The key to freeing yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting what they did or forgetting the pain you went through. Forgiveness is about reclaiming control over your mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Others may do wrong, but why must you add to that wrong by holding on to resentment?" Think of it like an emotional debt. If you're waiting for someone to pay up with an apology or change their ways, you're trapping yourself in expectations that may never be met. Forgiveness is how you erase that debt. You don't need them to do anything to set yourself free. Here's an example. A woman once shared how she was betrayed by her best friend at work. Initially, she carried anger and tried to prove she was right. But eventually, she realized that her anger wasn't changing the past, it was only exhausting her. She chose to forgive, not because her friend deserved it, but because she wanted to free her mind and focus on new opportunities. Whenever you feel anger rising, ask yourself, does this help me in any way? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I forgive so I can find peace. Walk away. The boldest act of self-protection. Some relationships can't be saved, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because the toxicity runs too deep to change. In those situations, the only option is to walk away. Remember, walking away isn't a sign of failure. It's a declaration that you deserve better. You don't have to stay in a relationship that makes you feel small just because you're afraid of being called too sensitive or selfish. Visualize this. You're standing at a crossroads. Behind you lies darkness, the pain and hurt you've endured. Ahead of you is light, a place where you can start over. Every step you take away from the darkness brings you closer to true freedom. Here's a story. A man once found himself in a relationship where his partner constantly insulted him. He stayed out of fear of financial instability, fear of family judgment. But one day he realized that staying was costing him his self-worth. He made the brave decision to leave and start fresh. A year later, he was living a life of peace he never thought possible. Ask yourself, is this relationship lifting me up or pulling me down? If the answer is pulling you down, take the courage to walk away. Live in the present, let go of the past. We often get stuck in what's already happened, but the past no longer exists. Epictetus once said, "It is not the past that binds you, but your thoughts about it." To move forward, you need to release what you can't change. That doesn't mean ignoring the lessons of the past, but it does mean refusing to let it dictate your present. When negative memories resurface, remind yourself, I can't change this, but I can change how I view it. Instead of focusing on the pain, redirect your energy to what you're doing today to create a brighter future. Your mind is like a glass. If it's full of painful memories, there's no room left for happiness. Letting go is like pouring out what you no longer need, making space for positive things to fill your life. Forgiving doesn't make you weak. Walking away doesn't make you a failure. And letting go doesn't mean forgetting your worth. These actions are your way of telling the world and yourself, I choose freedom. I choose happiness. I choose to live the life I deserve. Remember, you can't control other people's actions, but you can always control how you respond. And that is your greatest power. Now is the time to set down the burdens you've been carrying, let go of toxic relationships, and move forward stronger than ever before. Take a moment to reflect on everything you've just learned. You are not responsible for fixing toxic people or repairing harmful relationships. You don't have to carry that burden on your shoulders forever. The one thing you truly need to do is protect your peace, and that is the greatest responsibility you owe yourself. This journey isn't easy, but you've taken the first steps toward freedom and inner strength. By applying these 5 strategies, you won't just escape the control of others, you'll reclaim control over your own life. First, you've learned how to recognize and understand toxic behavior. Toxic people manipulate you by making you feel small or unworthy. But when you identify these patterns, you achieve something crucial: seeing the truth. This clarity helps you see through their tactics and frees you from guilt and self-doubt. Next, you've learned to set boundaries. Boundaries aren't just about keeping others out, they're about teaching others how to respect you. They're not selfish, they're an affirmation of your worth. You have the right to say no, and you don't owe anyone an explanation. Clear boundaries create a safe, healthy space for you to thrive. Then, you've mastered your emotions. Toxic people feed on your reactions, that's where they get their power. But now, you've learned to stay calm, to pause before reacting, and to become a gray rock when necessary. By controlling your emotions, you not only protect your peace, but also strip away the power they once held over you. You've also begun building inner strength through support and self-care. You've realized that there are people who love and respect you, and you've started gravitating toward those positive relationships while letting go of toxic ones. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's an act of love. And you've embraced that you deserve to be loved, starting with love from yourself. And finally, you've learned to let go and walk away. Not every relationship can be fixed, and that's okay. Forgiveness isn't about the other person deserving it, it's about you deserving freedom. Walking away isn't failure, it's the courage to choose happiness and peace for yourself. What will you do for yourself today? As this video comes to an end, take a moment to think. Out of these 5 strategies, which one will you apply immediately? Is it setting a boundary you've been avoiding for too long? Or maybe it's letting go of the self-blame when dealing with toxic behavior. Whatever it is, start today. Every small step you take will lead to a big change in your life. Remember, you have the power to protect your peace. You have the ability to control your emotions. And you have a responsibility to yourself to create a better, more positive, and freer life. Finally, always keep this in mind. You deserve to live a life that feels whole, peaceful, and truly happy. If this resonates with you, please like and subscribe to Daily Stoic Practice and share your insights in the comments. Your thoughts may inspire others on their own journeys to inner peace and resilience. Don't miss our daily videos, insightful discussions, and practical tips for applying Stoic principles to your modern life.